All right, now we're going to move to visitor statements. The Board of Education welcomes and encourages the participation of its citizens in the business of the school district. Thank you for your attendance. There are 2 points at the meeting. Hold on, wait till I got to call the sides up first. They got a gentleman over there, too. All right, okay. I didn't know that you were running the meeting, so I didn't know that, so. There were 2 points in the meeting where the visitor statements are scheduled. Citizens are welcome to ask questions or make comment to either one. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. If a person would like additional time to address the board, such a request should be submitted in writing 48 hours before the meeting to the superintendent. For more details, please refer to Board Policy 2:230, public participation at the Board of Education meetings and petitions of the boards. Sir, do you want to speak? Okay. All right. Please state your name and where you're from.
My name is Jerry Buttermer. I'm from Riverside, and thank you, President Cindy. I want to say thank you guys for keeping all the sports. I know this has been a long debate over almost 3 years now, but what you did was right. It's reflected in your students' participation. I have an observation to make in terms of cost. As a concept, just to consider, it's been pointed out that football is a higher cost. I don't know exactly what it is, and swimming is a high cost. Cross country is a nothing cost. Consider just rating each sport by criteria conceptually. Capital cost, your variable cost, like your insurance, your officials. There's like 3 criteria that will stand out significantly between sports, and maybe you have 3 tiers. Those that are high cost. Football, probably swimming is up there, probably gymnastics because it's high supervision to low participation, high insurance, high capital cost, dedicated room. Obviously, when you compare it then to a sport like cross country, that's a cheap sport. They don't even have a track. They don't even work out on campus hardly. They're off on the public streets and in the forest preserves. You don't even buy them shorts or shirts except for the meets. They buy their own shoes. And what's happening, I think, if I've been listening correctly over the last 2 years, and I was all for push it up to 200. Heck, we had feeder clubs where we charged the little wrestlers $200. And we knew that if we didn't charge a high enough rate, we would be used for a babysitting service. So we were charging $200 years ago, and it was fine. So I wouldn't be too shy about the 200. I appreciate everything that's been said about kids dropping out, and I think you're seeing it in cross because it's cheap to operate. So Mom says, when Charlie says, I was going to run to get in shape for wrestling, Mom says, another $200, go run around the block. And it's hurting that sport, which is it's one sport where kids can take it with them for the rest of their life. The lifestyle, the working out, they don't need a gym, they don't need a football stadium later, they don't need a pool. When they're 50, they can go out and run around the block, and it's healthy for them. So my suggestion would be, if you weighted them by 3 criteria, you'll probably find about a third of your sports in that upper part, and a third in the middle, and a third in the cheap. Goose the top layer by 10% and take it off the bottom layer. You don't want to sacrifice revenue. Just shuffle it around a little bit. Am I under 3, Matt?
250.
252.
Thank you.
All right. Any other, you don't want to talk? Okay, seeing none, is there any other additional discussion items you want to add to the board agenda?
Yeah, I'd like to add discussion on policy 150 committees. And the second one I'll say now, but it could be put, a couple people brought it up, is could we talk about what tools we have to do surveys? And it could be just a brief discussion and maybe table it for another meeting.
Okay. Anything else?